So let's talk about DeFi. DeFi is basically dying, as we all know. And it's basically hack central. Like every hack you've seen in crypto has been a DeFi hack of some sort. And it started crashing with rebasing DAOs. I think that was the first shot in the gut, and it's slowly been bleeding out internally. I've been following this Curve debacle because it was quite fascinating. So this is the founder of Curve Finance, and Curve is a DeFi platform, and you can borrow and swap stable coins, etc. Rommel, grab a chair. You just missed carrot in a box.
Oh shit.
Oh man, literally. So, do you still have the carrot, or did you put it back? Oh, good. Good. We'll need that for later. Oh, did he? Okay, we've got the carrot. So, not long ago, Michael took out a loan. He took out a $100 million loan on Aave, and he used $280 million worth of CRV Curve as collateral. He then went on a bit of a spending spree. He bought this $41 million house in Australia. I mean, it's mega. And everything was pretty hunky-dory until the 30th of July. But bear in mind, the price of Curve when he did this was about 70 to 80 cents per Curve. On the 30th of July, Curve was hacked to the tune of $70 million. And the price of Curve went from about 75-ish down to about, what was that spike low? About 40 cents, and it's been hovering around 50. So what instantly happened is that the whole world saw that Michael's Aave loan and his FraxLend loan were in trouble. So we had the hack. They knew that his loan was in trouble, and just like DeFi, everyone started to stop hunt him. Everyone saw blood and basically wanted his blood. So his $280 million collateral dropped to $150 million. Jesus, that's a big drop in wealth. And everyone was dumping CRV because again, game theory, people thought CRV could go bust here, so they were selling CRV just to get the hell out of it. They're like, oh, another FTX, UST type debacle. And other people were just trying to dump his position. And the reason why this was so important is because if he was fully liquidated, about $120 million worth of Ethereum would have been dumped at market instantly. Boom. And so that would have dumped everything. So all eyes are on this. And the API at one point on his FraxLend position was doubling every 12 hours. It was just insane. And he was about to be liquidated. And I think that's $59 million, not $59 worth of CRV, sorry. I'll do it later. So he then had to fire sell a whole bunch of his positions and CRV to Justin Sun, who, in my opinion, is one of the dodgiest crypto participants out there, to help his position. And in a whole crazy turn of events, the Curve hacker had a change of heart. He didn't want to hurt DeFi, and he didn't want to hurt the Curve protocol, so he returned $50 million back. That's the last I checked, as of a few days ago. He may have done it more. I think there was supposed to be a deal that if you return $60 million back or something like that, well, we won't hunt you down. And it was like, this contract for the bounty hunter was on a smart contract, and he missed the payment date. So he returned $50 million back, but they're still hunting him. So. Yeah, exactly. Screw you, get it back. So I'd love to know what the thought process was in this. I mean, if you're gonna hack and run away with 70 million, you don't just give it back if you're still gonna be an outlaw. Anyway, so here's the thing. As of the 12th of August, when I last checked this, no? Wait, is it the 11th today? Oh, it's the 12th of August. Oh, so I must have been late last night. There have been 148 DeFi hacks since 2020, I believe. But yeah, totaling $4.28 billion. That's crazy. I didn't know it was that much. And as you can see, most of it happened during the sort of DeFi run up and then spillover. But that's quite a lot of hacks that you don't really hear about. We heard about, we hear about all the big hacks, but I went through, there's a big long list on ChainSec. And so I had to, just to fit them on the slide, it only included ones over $50 million. The biggest one was the Ronin bridge attack, $600 million. Where is it? Is he not? Oh, $625 million hack. That's crazy. So that's Axie Infinity with Ronin. And there's been loads of $200 million hacks which completely went under my radar. Sushi, SafeMoon, Euler, Nomad. I'd never heard of Nomad Bridge, or Horizon Bridge, or Mango Mark. I mean, loads of these hacks. I've never even heard of them. Vulcan Forge, the Poly network, that was a big one. So these happen all the time. And obviously, rebasing DAOs, I think, were the starting gun for the death of DeFi. But it's not just that. When you look at the actual stats, so look at TVL, so total value locked in DeFi, it has peaked, again, same sort of time, and it's just been bleeding out. People have been not necessarily losing faith in DeFi, it's just not as much activity. I couldn't find the chart, but there was a DeFi activity chart. It looks almost the same. It's just the hardcore people left just playing with DeFi. There's no new people coming into the space. There's no new narrative. So back in 2021, the new DeFi narrative was rebasing DAOs. That's what caused all of the crazy activity. So this one is DEX volume. Again, decentralized exchange volume is going down. And that's surprising. Yes, we've had the odd spike when FTX went bust and all these other centralized exchanges having a bit of a kerfuffle. But you would have thought people who would be adopting DEXs a lot more. And I think in theory that makes sense, but in reality, DEXs are still really shit. I've played at length with Trader Joe's, Sushi. What do I normally play with? Back in the day, it was Trader Joe's mainly, and SushiSwap and Uniswap. But the user experience isn't that good. GMX is a good one, but again, it's just still not as easy as a centralized exchange. And plus, there's not that many assets that you can play with some of these DEXs. And also, the depth isn't there. So if I wanted to go and buy Bitcoin, you get a way better price going to Binance than you would going to a DEX, because there's massive slippage on a lot of these DEXs. The caveat to that, of course, is GMX. Because GMX has, when you buy Bitcoin or ETH, etc., you're buying it from the GLP pool, and they take an average price because they have a chain link oracle, and so you can buy as much Bitcoin or ETH with zero slippage. So if I ever had to whale into Bitcoin or ETH, I'd probably do it on GMX because there's zero slippage. It's worth knowing if you're ever in that position. But to be honest, I can't see me buying shitloads of ETH or Bitcoin. I just use them as the barometer of overall crypto. So going back to the first presentation where I said the only answer to all of this is just to be in Bitcoin, for me, I use Bitcoin is the lifeboat, but I prefer to be on other lifeboats. Casper. So, yeah, and this I thought was interesting. So DEX volume by chain, Ethereum is still the king daddy. $15 billion compared to everything else. So Binance Smart Chain, that has dropped a lot. Binance Smart Chain is effectively dead or dying. But ETH is still the dominant chain in DeFi. And I think that's mainly due to secondary layers like Optimism, Arbitrum, and Matic. They're enabling people to play with the Ethereum network a lot faster and a lot cheaper. All those layer 2s, those lovely layer 2s. And then again, if you look at fundraising, so ICOs, IDOs, all that sort of stuff, it's dropped off a cliff big time. I mean, why would you launch, if you're setting up a new crypto, why would you launch an ICO in the middle of a raging bear market? You just wouldn't. You'd build it up in stealth mode, you'd make sure your code is good, etc., and then you're waiting for the trigger. We don't know when that trigger will be, but basically when Bitcoin starts mooning, or starts coming back up, people then you'll see another spike like this in funding. Except this time, because institutional money is coming in, I reckon this next one will be a lot bigger. I mean, hell, you could draw a trend line like that. Probably wouldn't be far off. So,
Siam, don't you think ICOs might be a bit of a dodgy way to launch
yes.
a project now with go against them?
Yep, agreed. So basically, and also here's the other reason why I think this is still going to decrease is because of the SEC threat. Any crypto that has done an ICO within the last 5 years is in the firing line of Gary Gensler because of the statute of limitations and the period of repos. So that's why Ethereum is in the clear. They did their ICO in 2015. So the statute of limitations and the period of repos, they're in the clear now. So how else are they going to launch? So, and without me being a broken record, I think everyone is now seeing how Casper has launched. Proper fair launch, no VC. It's like a thing these days. A lot of people, especially myself, will look at a new crypto and go straight to the tokenomics in terms of the issuance. You know, and if I see VC, pre-sale, ICO, development team, marketing team, blah, 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 I'm like, nah, I'm out. I want to see fair launch. And I think fair launch is where most people are going to go to. And the thing is, normally in hard times you have innovation. In the depth of despair of the subprime mortgage collapse in 2008 and 2009, guess what emerged? Bitcoin. The white paper came out in 2008. Bitcoin launched in 2009, and that was an amazing innovation during hard times. And it's the same with every hard time. World War II, World War I. Before that, we had all sorts of things. You know, the Spanish flu and penicillin and all that sort of stuff. And thankfully, DeFi has been quietly innovating behind the scenes. Now, this is being recorded, so if you're watching this in the future, it's now the 12th of August 2023. I have not bought any of the projects I'm about to talk about, and I will not buy them for the foreseeable future. I just want to give examples of where innovation has come from. So the first thing I thought was pretty cool is arcade.xyz, or Z as the Yanks say. And this, I think, is a nice first toe in the water of tokenization of real-world assets. Because I think we all know by now that real-world asset tokenization is where NFTs are going forwards. It's not going to be shitty 2D cartoons that you're buying for, 20 Ether. It's going to be, I'm tokenizing my house, I'm going to chop it up into 100 million tokens, and I'm going to sell my 100 million tokens on some tokenized right move. And it will come along with a shareholders agreement, which means I can live in it, put my shelves up, I own it and control it, but I can sell, 75% of my house and still have all of the pros and benefits of being a homeowner. I think it's not going to be the argument of renting versus buying. I think that there's going to be a sweet spot of owning like 25% of your house or 26% of your house, having full rights to it and living in it. And then, you're selling 75% to the random public. And your mortgage repayments are spread equally. But this was pretty cool. It's pretty baby at the moment. It's only 100. So this is, by the way, these are baby numbers in terms of loan volume, 120 million. But the cool thing is this. Someone took out a loan and used his or her Patek Philippe watch as collateral. So if we look at the stats here, so the principal, so it's only a $35,000 loan, yet they're putting up something that's at least 6 figures for that watch. So the way that it works is that the watch would then go to a third-party valuer. That valuer would assay it and say, yes, it's not a knockoff. They give it a price, and they would tokenize it. And when they tokenize it, they issue a whole bunch of tokens, which then come to you, and that is your proof that you own that Patek Philippe. And if you default on the loan that you're taking out, you don't get those NFTs. The only way to get your watch back is by completing the loan and paying back your lenders, and then you can burn those NFTs to reclaim your watch. And you can only burn the NFTs with that third-party company. So that's pretty cool. And the thing is, this person has borrowed 35,000. Yeah, so look at this. It's a 60-day loan, 12% APR. So they're borrowing 35K, and over the next 2 months, they're going to be paying $690. And it's all in a smart contract. So this person has instantly borrowed that money from God knows how many people. Does it say here how many? No. But it would be, a whole bunch of people would have contributed to that loan, and this person has no idea who he's borrowing from, and the lenders have no idea who they're lending to. So I think that's pretty cool, and this will only increase. So you can just use your own hard stuff as collateral. The other one I have mentioned on a trading pub before, again, I'm not buying any of these projects, flashstake.io. They've completely flipped loans on their head. So normally, when you send a loan to someone, it's like, hey, it's a 5-year loan, and you pay me principal plus interest or interest only, and then you get your money back. But here, you get all of the yield up front if you're the lender. So you can basically, let's say, lock up 2.5 ETH, that's your collateral, and let's say you lock it up for 505 days, you're going to get 6.8% APY, but you get the yield straight away. So I didn't explain that well. Let's put it in different ways. Let's say I have 100 grand and I want to lend it to someone. I can, and let's say I'm going to lend it out at 10% APR. That means 10 grand a year in interest repayments. So let's say it's a 3-year loan. I'm going to get 30 grand in interest repayments. With me so far? On here, I could lock up my 100 grand and technically loan my 100 grand to this thing, but I'd get that 30 grand of yield straight away. And then I just have to leave my 100 grand locked up for X amount of time. That's pretty cool. It's like a reverse loan. Yeah, it's like a bridging loan. But it's now on DeFi, which is pretty cool.
So can you buy X amount of, say, 1 BTC, you lock it up,
get the yield up front, and then loop it. Yeah.
And hopefully BTC is going to go up in the future.
Yeah, you can loop it as many times as you like to get the yield up. But obviously, if the price of BTC, actually,
liquidated if it goes down.
Because it depends on the protocol. If it's based on you've deposited 5 Bitcoin, then it's just that. Oh yeah, you'd have to check. If it's the dollar value of the Bitcoin, then you could be in trouble if Bitcoin drops. But if it's the amount of Bitcoin, then yeah, just loop it and then just forget it. So that's pretty cool. Again, I'm not playing with this. I had a look. I mean, again, these are bait. I wouldn't put money onto this or do these loans just yet because it's such small amount of volume, and we haven't had real proof in the pudding just yet. And I think Radiant, actually of all of these, I think Radiant looks pretty cool. This, in essence, is like Aave. So you can earn and borrow money or lend and borrow money. And the cool thing with the version 2 that they've just launched is that it's omni-chain. So you don't need to bridge anything. So this is basically, if you want to loan or borrow, if you want to lend or borrow, you can go to Radiant, and regardless of what assets on what chain you have, it's completely omni-chain, which is pretty cool. So these are beefier numbers, $500 million so far. And also, if you hold RDNT, you get yield. So you can effectively stake it, and you can loop it as well. So looping, I'd be very careful with looping. Don't do it too much, because you can get into a spot of bother. But yeah, of all the ones, I'd probably look into, but maybe looking at this. I mean, the chart is like any other chart at the moment, but I like that it's a lot bigger than the others. So, but I don't think this will be the last. I think there'll be many out there that do lending, borrowing, lending like Aave, cross-chain, multi-chain, all that sort of stuff. And looking into the specifics, the other thing I did like about Radiant is that it has June analytics, and I like June analytics because you can see stuff. So you can see that they got a liquidity pool value of 52 million. Most people are staking, so 78.11% of all Radiant holders are staking, so that's pretty cool. So you know that it's somewhat illiquid. I mean, you can easily unstake, but and yeah, the value of it has obviously grown pretty sharply. but it looks pretty good there. Again, looking at the fees, so over the last, I'm not sure how long, but, oh no, it's total, yeah. So 12 million in fees, and that goes to Radiant holders. Yeah, overall, the metrics, the tokenomics is pretty cool, and the net and the performance of the project looking positive so far.